Hello guys, welcome to this class. So in this lecture we are going to talk about classes and objects in Java. So this is a conceptual overview of classes and objects, and hence I will be taking you through some slides to explain the concepts of classes and object. Okay. In next lecture we will be doing some practical wherein we will be actually creating some classes and objects and understand this in more detail. So let's get started. So what are classes and objects in Java? So like you guys know, Java is an object oriented programming, and it means it has to do something with the word object. So what are objects? So objects are anything that you see around you. If you look around in a room that you are sitting or wherever you are, you will see a lot of things, like for example, I can see a cupboard, I can see a dog, I can see a bottle, I can see my laptop. Okay, so these are all objects in real world. Okay, and every object has a state and a behavior. Now what does a state and behavior mean? So let's say for example, for a dog that I'm seeing right now over here, a state will be something like the number of ears it have, the color it has, the breed it belongs to, the total number of legs it has, the height of the dog, the weight of the dog, etc. Similarly, behavior for a dog will be walking, barking, sleeping, etc. So if you look at the definition of objects in Java, objects are nothing but instances of the class. It means objects are created from classes. Okay, and like we discussed, objects have a state and a behavior. So what are classes? So classes are nothing but a blueprint which is used to define objects. So in our example, to create an object for a dog, you will have to first define its class. Okay, so in class you will define all the different states you want the object to have and all the different behaviors you want the object to have. So classes are also termed as a user defined data type. So in Java we already used some primitive data types. Okay, we learned about them like integer, float, double, etc. So primitive data types have limited functionality, but if you want to build anything custom for yourself, classes is what helps you define a user defined data type in Java. But why do we need these classes and objects in programming? So classes and objects makes it very easy to simulate real world scenarios in programming, and classes and objects are the building blocks for object oriented programming. Okay, so let's take a look at some real world scenarios as an example. So some real world scenarios that I have mentioned over here are user orders a food. Okay, student can enroll in a course, driver can drive a car. So let's see how we can simulate these real world scenarios using classes and objects. Okay, so we'll take the first scenario, which is the user orders the food. Okay, so now over here user can be any user. Let's for an example take a user John. Okay, he can order different kinds of food, which is burger, pizza, or a sandwich. Now over here in programming, John will be nothing but an object that has certain state and a behavior. Like John will be represented like this in programming. So like you can see, John has certain state like name, gender, and age. Okay, and we have defined over here like name is John, gender is male, and his age is 22. Okay, now John can have certain behavior like he can order food and he can update his profile. Okay, now this behavior John will be using to perform certain actions. Okay, similar to John, we can create multiple objects like William, Stacy, which have their own state and behavior. Okay, so the state will be name, gender, and age, like you can see. So these are multiple objects created using the template or a blueprint, which is nothing but a class. You can see that the user class has defined the states and the behavior that its object can have. So you can see like user class has the state name, gender, and age, and the objects that are created using the user class has these three states defined in them. Okay, and the objects of the user class can exhibit two behaviors, which is the order food and update profile. Okay, now let's take a look at the user class. Okay, so this is what a user class will look like. Okay, so you can see like the states and the behavior defined. Okay, now the states can be defined using the variables. So a class uses variables to define the state for an object, and behavior is defined using a method. Okay, and these variables and methods are known as the members of the class. Classes can also contain interfaces, member class and constructors as members apart from variables and method. So in total, a class can have variable, methods, interfaces, member classes and constructor. Okay, so that's about this class, guys. See you guys in the next class. In next class we'll be writing some program wherein we'll be actually creating some classes and we'll be actually creating some objects and we'll be understanding more in detail. So thanks a lot, guys. See you in the next class.